Hi, my name is Maher. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Infinite Cooling. And we're a startup that works on industrial cooling towers, on optimizing them, and on recovering water from their emissions. So some of you might be wondering, what are cooling towers? Why do they matter? And how did we become passionate about this issue? So I'm going to use the next few minutes to tell us about our story and the process we followed to get to where we are today. This started about 10 years ago. I moved to the US for grad school, and I was very passionate about sustainability, clean energy, and water. And I met this professor at MIT who had this idea of trying to harvest water from fog to produce drinking water from natural fog. That sounded like an intriguing idea to me, and I joined his lab as a graduate student to research this. And this was not a novel idea. Actually, people have been using fog for drinking water for centuries. And today, it's used in some remote areas in South America and other places where they don't have any drinking water. So our idea was, can we take these existing systems that people use and make them much more efficient so this can become a scalable way to produce clean water in a lot of places? So we went to the lab and worked on this for a couple of years. We developed a technology that makes those traditional systems a lot more efficient. So the current ones that they use have capture rate of 1% to 2%. We develop systems that are close to 100% of the fog that comes to them. And after we did that, we went out and said, okay, now we have a technology. How can we scale this up? How can we take it to users so that we can start getting water from fog? So we started doing some research, and there we found that it was actually a tough thing to do because fog is very intermittent, it has water quality issues, etc. So it wasn't going to be scalable the way we imagined when we started the project. So we took a step back and said, okay, we want to have an impact on water scarcity. Let's look at the areas where we can really have a significant impact. So who uses water? Where is water being consumed today? Number one is agriculture, irrigation and agriculture. That's the biggest water consumer by far. And actually, we started another project on reducing pesticide pollution in agriculture, but I'm not going to talk about that today. The second biggest source of water consumption in the US is cooling systems or industrial cooling systems. So that was surprising. We didn't know that, and actually there is more water being consumed in these industrial cooling systems than all of the residential water consumption in the entire country. And the way these cooling systems or cooling towers work is they take in water, evaporate it, and that evaporation provides cooling to various kinds of processes like power plants, data centers, chemical plants. Even your local Walmart might have cooling towers. And this is very similar to the way our body cools itself by producing sweat. That sweat evaporates, and that's how we get cooled. So it's an industrial application of that same mechanism. So, and you might have seen these cooling towers. If you've ever driven by a nuclear power plant, for example, you see these huge hyperbolic towers that are emitting plumes of vapor. You can see those white plumes coming out. Sometimes people mistake them for pollution or something, but that's all just water that's coming out. So that's the bigger version, and they have much smaller version of those same systems. So that was interesting, especially given the fact that we've been spending a lot of time on this fog and water vapor. So we were experts in that field, so we said, can we apply our learnings and target this massive source of water consumption? So we went back to the lab and spent a couple more years and developed a solution by using electrostatic fields to extract water from those plumes that come out of cooling towers and reusing that water again in the system. Once we did that in the lab, we went out, found a local power plant in the Boston area near the university that agreed to do a pilot with us. We installed a proof of concept system there. we showed that it could work. Obviously, we had a lot of other things that didn't work, but we learned from those and kept on and installed the second one and the third one, etc. And every time we kept iterating, learning from the customers about what they want, and also learning about the implementation of the technology. And yeah, we're still selling these systems today. Another interesting thing that happened to us in the process is when we started working with these companies and these industrial processes. For one of them, we installed a bunch of sensors to monitor the performance of the system and see how things are working. And we had been developing algorithms to analyze performance, etc., for R&D purposes to improve our own systems. And in one of these cases, we went to the customer, and we were able to detect various other things with our algorithms that were developed for another purpose. We were able to monitor their performance, detect issues in their systems, and that was very useful to them because they were losing millions of dollars a year because of those undetected issues. So then we took at that learning as well, and then we started a software product as well that's now telling customers about their system and helping them optimize their system. So that's where we are today. Obviously, we're still evolving. But the reason I wanted to share that story is that the process is very, very common. You know, you start with a problem that you're passionate about. You try to do something. Typically, it doesn't work, but you learn something from the process. And then you keep iterating and iterating until you find something, a problem that matters, that you can help solve, or as it's called in business terms, product market fit, and that's really where your business becomes successful. So I'll end my talk by saying, if you're passionate about something, start the process today and don't wait for a revelation. Thank you.